Hello, I'd like to talk about our dear, lovely psychic children, as we call them. Yes, our children do have abilities, not all. But if we look back in ourselves, maybe we had that child friend that our parents didn't see. But eventually that child disappeared because we grew up and got used to this world. Games, TVs, life, schooling. But a lot of children have that ability is because they haven't been here too long. They've just come from the spirit realms and sometimes can still be open to what's around them spiritually. But for some children it can be disturbing, especially where they're having night terrors. I had one baby, 9 months old, that was screaming every time there was someone around. And I looked at this child screaming at my granddaughter's birthday party and thought, you're wide open, you're seeing people's auras and it's disturbing for you. So eventually I made a rapport with him and managed to give him a cuddle and just spoke to him gently, soul to soul, and slowly closed him down. The parents were grateful because unfortunately for Mum, she didn't know what to do, she was beside herself. And at that age, it's not like the child can say, this is what I'm seeing, so I'm glad I crossed paths. But I've heard lots of stories, a 10-year-old child sitting there all night, wide-eyed open, couldn't sleep, watching the spirit world. And when I say watching the spirit world, I'm talking about the astral world. This child was watching all sorts, even down to which made me laugh. Well, Tracy, I'm seeing two people of different faiths arguing, and I smiled and said, do you know what, it doesn't change on the other side. But what did concern me was he was up all night to the point he was exhausted. So we gave him some tools to work with. Now it works on his terms. He probably will be a very gifted child and will help in the future. Now many people are saying, oh, there's lots of children being born psychic to help the planet. These children have always been here. We've always been part of that. Nothing's new. It's just we identify with it more. For the parents, don't be scared. Your children are in a good place. It's just sometimes they need guidance. Acknowledgement is the key. Listen to what they say. I hear children talk about past lives. I hear people say that they want to go back home. Some people say, I see, things in my room at night. Some people find it hard to go out in the environment because they can't bear the psychic energies out there. Education is the key. These children, if they had other children to talk to, it would help. To ignore them makes them feel stupid and they don't want to talk to their parents, the fear of what they may say. Unfortunately, if we don't let them grow, and if we don't acknowledge them, eventually they can end up with the labels. I had a young girl, 17 years old, that was seeing full-on spirits, and I mean full-on apparitions that you could touch them. She was getting panic attacks, she was all over the place. And it so happened the parents spotted me in the school when I was picking up my grandchildren and said, you deal with that spirit stuff, don't you? Yes, please talk to my daughter, she's all over the place. When I met her, she was a very quiet child, and she slowly told me about what she saw in her room at night. Some of it was good and some of it was bad. She was getting panic attacks, and then she went to the doctors, and the doctor tried to give her beta blockers and advised that she'd seen a psychiatrist. Ugh, that worried me. Already that child feels she's got a problem. Psychiatry, can you imagine? Already she would probably end up with a label. So I advise her, no, you are very gifted. It's just at this moment in time while you're trying to go to college, it would be advisable to get it into a place where it works if you want it to work. Now she stopped the pills, but for a while she did go on them because she didn't know any better. I advised her to close down. She was such a lovely girl. But she said to me, I didn't know who to tell. I don't want to tell my friends because they think I'm mad. I don't want to tell my teacher in case they sent me off somewhere. Thank God I could tell my mum. But she's a happy girl now. So you can see, in life, there are many children experiencing things. If I can help you or help your child, it would be a pleasure. I'm not here to change your faith. I'm only here to advise the child how to work these energies. It's not the devil, it's an ability. And this ability may be a soul agreement with the child because they may be a worker. We do need these lights in our world because for the spirit world to communicate, to guide us, it's needed. For teachings to come through, it's needed. We have our mediums today and our psychics, and they too were one of those children. Probably they found it very difficult because obviously it wasn't as worldly advised. Please taught to me, because the idea of children suffering and ending up with labels that they don't need can be quite disturbing. And one other thing, HDAD, let's look at this. You know, I had HDAD, the label. I was crazy, I was all over the place, I was called the devil's child. But I was just reactive. You know, I wasn't seeing the spirit, but I can certainly feel these shifts as energies, and that's exactly what it is. You know, you get a shift of energy when you're 7, a shift of energy when you're 13, and you start to settle in roughly at 21 years old. It's because you're not fully engaged into this physical world till about 18, 21. I remember waking up at 18 years old and I felt different, to the point my mum said, "What's wrong with you? You're being nice." And then the real world kicked in. So, you know, the children that are all over the place, they could be the very gifted children. They may be just sensitive to what's going on to the point they are reacting. Again, let's get rid of some of these labels. I know some people say let's give them pills and potions. Please try not to. I had a friend that had a daughter that was all over the place, and she would advise that she had HDAD. And the parents said to me, "You really don't want to give her pills, do you?" "No, I don't." "But what if she wants to be a brain surgeon?" "Then she will be." You know, there are people here that will guide her. Not all angels are in the sky, there are angels here, and they will be sent to help that person on the journey. So rest assured that she's not going to go mad. To give her that label actually says she's got a problem. No, they haven't got a problem. They are just expressing themselves. My mother held on to me with kindness and loved me, even though people were saying put me in a home. Now I've ended up being this person. If she hadn't been the person she was back then, maybe I wouldn't be the person I am today. So when you see all these things, think. Don't just listen to what people tell you. Listen to your child. Cuddle your child. Acknowledge your child. And even if it's out of your normal belief, please think.